World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
Well. Here we are. It is October 9th, a lovely Wednesday in New Jersey. Not so lovely in Florida. And this is the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, and Cavs Philly Tailgates, the Edge of Philly Sports Network, too. I'm Jim Chet Chesko, and do we have Bill Furman? Oh, my God. We have Bill Furman on the show. Here he is. We are here together. Bill Furman, how are you, my man?
It was good. It was good of you to give me a lot of time to get ready here, pal.
Well, first of all, a lot of viewers who are watching us live here on this Wednesday evening likely have this question for you. What the hell is Bill Furman doing here on a goofy sports podcast when a nasty hurricane is fast approaching in Central Florida? What's the deal, Bill? How are you, first of all?
Well, let's just call it a sanity check. It's been a rough day, been a rough couple days, 4 days. It is raining very, very hard. And has been for hours. The winds are picking up pretty good. It looks like we're just making landfall right now in Tampa, Bradenton, St. Pete area. And it is supposed to be here now about 12 or 12:30 here in a couple hours, going to be in Lakeland area. So 100+ mile-an-hour winds are still the forecast. And, we'll just hang on. We'll see. If for some reason I just happen to disappear because the power went out, I'll catch you on the backside.
I hear you. We are certainly concerned about you, and a lot of our viewers down in Florida, happen to be there. So, our thoughts go out to everyone down there. I know it's not a pleasant situation. And also not a pleasant situation, Bill, the Philadelphia Phillies. It's October 9th. The season is over. What the hell?
Well, you know what, Chet? We can break this thing down 100 different ways, but at the end of the day, the Mets were better. The Mets were better in this series. The starting pitching did a pretty good job, all said and done. The bullpen collapsed. Hoffman collapsed, and they didn't hit. They hit one game. I counted it up, and then the game wasn't over, but it was something like, I think they ended up with 22 or 23 hits in the 4-game series, and 10 of them were in one game. You don't hit, you don't win, and it's pretty simple. Better team won.
We're going to talk a bunch about the Phillies, but let's tell everybody about our show otherwise tonight. What do we have going on this evening, Bill?
Well, we do. We're going to, as you said, we're going to talk about the Phillies. The Eagles are back in action, healthy after the bye week against Cleveland. I did see where Devontae Smith is expected to play, but is still not cleared.
Oh, really?
Right. Lane is cleared, and Brown is cleared, but not Smith yet, but they are expecting him. The Flyers, they opened their season Friday night in Vancouver with a couple promising rookie teenagers, Chet, that made the opening roster. So we'll certainly talk about that. And we'll be making our weekly NFC East picks. I hope nobody's paying a lot of attention to that because he's stinking it up.
Don't rely on us.
But we certainly have plenty to talk about.
We do. The NHL season is actually underway already, Bill. The Devils and Sabres, having played a couple of games over in Prague, New Jersey winning both of those games. The Blues edging the Kraken last night with some history being made as Seattle has the NHL's first ever female assistant coach. Yeah. The Flyers, as you said, they're not quite there yet. Friday night is the opener. They open up out on the West Coast, as they seem to do quite often, out in Vancouver. But we have a great guest on with us to talk about the Flyers, Sam Carchidi. And Sam always gives us great insight about the Flyers.
Absolutely. And, it's a shame. I guess it's good from the Flyers standpoint to open out in the great Northwest, but they play 4 games before we ever see them. All 10 o'clock Eastern time starts. They'll all be on TV if you're staying up till midnight to watch them. But I'm kind of excited to talk with Sam about that and these young kids that made the roster.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see these young kids, 18 and 19 years old. We're going to talk about them with Sam. But let's get to the Phillies right away, Bill. What a ugly series this turned out to be. You mentioned just no clutch hitting other than game 2. The relief pitching just dreadful. Remember 2 years ago, we were using the phrase about the bullpen historically bad?
Yeah.
Well, this was historically awful as far as a playoff bullpen performance. They just looked terrible. You mentioned Hoffman. He just looked nervous out there this evening. He was all over the place.
Yeah, I when he melted down there in that inning, I actually looked back at some stats real quick.
Yeah.
In the last 12 games of the season leading up to his last game, all right, so he gave up no runs for 12 games in a row. His last game of the regular season, he gave up 4. In this series, he gave up 6 in an inning and a third. I mean, it's just a monumental meltdown. The guy gave up 10 runs in his last 2 1/3 innings. He was the guy. He was the guy.
And then, Estevez comes in tonight, or Estevez, and first batter, Lindor, great player, obviously. It's a grand slam home run to finally get the Mets on the board, and I don't think any of us really thought the Phillies were coming back from that. They gave us a little faint hope with getting 2 guys on in the ninth, but couldn't get them in. 4-1 final. I'm worried, Bill, because 2 years ago they went to the World Series, lost. Last year they get to the NLCS. They're up 3-2, come up with a couple of clunkers after that, get eliminated in the NLCS at home, games 6 and 7, and now they're out of there in the NLDS. It's kind of like back in 2009, 10, and 11 when, the season got a little bit shorter every year in the postseason. And that's what we're seeing again. And now you wonder, if these guys are ever going to get back there. A lot of these key guys are not young.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to see a lot of wholesale changes. I really do. I think and I've been his fan since day one when he got here. Alec Bohm could be in a little bit of trouble here in Philadelphia with just the feeling I get by watching it. Not the fact that he didn't hit down the stretch. There's just some body language or some mojo. There's something. There's going to be changes because this team is built a certain way, and that's to hit home runs and and long balls, and that's not going to win for you, as we're finding out.
Yeah, Bohm with some temper tantrum issues. He looks unfocused at times. And not just him, but a lot of guys still just don't seem to have a great idea of the strike zone, and they chase. They were a little better at that.
JT was terrible.
Yeah.
JT was terrible the whole series. Yeah.
Speaking of guys who are getting old, you got to wonder about JT. He's getting up there now. When you're in your mid-30s and you're a catcher, you're getting old.
Yeah, I think if you look right down the lineup, one guy, maybe 2, Harper, Castellanos, they didn't get anything out of anybody else. Nobody.
Yeah, Castellanos was okay. Harper had some moments, certainly.
Oh, Harper was good. Harper hit about 400 in the series.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you going to do? And the starting pitching, when you step back at it, even with as tough as Ranger struggled today, when it was all said and done, all 4 starters pitched good. They all pitched good enough to win games, and the bullpen fell apart on them. Matt Strom didn't pitch well, and he's been great all season.
He did not. Not going to blame the starters, as you said. And Ranger certainly was not great tonight, but he somehow managed to wiggle out of 2 bases loaded jams, gave them, 4 1/3, 4 2/3, which is more than a lot of people expected tonight. No runs charged to him at all. So that
looked like he wasn't getting out of the first.
They had Hoffman warming up in the second. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, better than expected there, and certainly Wheeler was great. Nola kept them in the game. Man, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of questions, and now we're seeing all the fire Thomson things. I know Thompson's not one of your favorites, but I'm not putting this on him. This was on the hitters and the bullpen this series.
Yeah, if I was really going to be nitpicky, I'm with you. I'm with you. But if I was going to be nitpicky, I'm not sure his order of the bullpen. Jeff Hoffman in the 5th inning, probably wasn't a good idea anyway, but it's here nor there. I think if Rob Thomson ends up going, it's going to be a whole big picture thing. It's the whole season, and look at that. And, this whole thing reminds me so much of the whole Danny Ozark thing that a lot of people may not remember, but he had great teams. Everybody liked him. He couldn't get them over the top, and they had to bring somebody in to get him over the top. And I'm not sure that Rob Thomson might not be fitting into that mode.
And Bill, the bad news is they can't bring Dallas Green and Pete Rose in to solve the situation this time.
Absolutely. Pete had a little something to do with that.
Yep. So we're going to talk a whole lot more next week about the Phillies' future. But anything else we should wrap up with tonight before we move on to other topics, including the Flyers and the Eagles?
No, I think it'll be it. Well, I will say this one final thing. I've watched a little bit of the Dodgers-San Diego series. San Diego's really good. I think they're going to beat the Dodgers when it's all said and done. The Dodgers-Mets is probably going to be a good series that I won't watch. But when it came down to it, all the playoff teams are really good. They all have really good pitching, and they can all swing the bats.
We got some Mets fans on our message board tonight, Bill.
Yeah.
Phillies fans are losing. He posts some other things here, too, which I'm not going to put, but come on, man. Yeah. Congratulations to the Mets. Mets certainly outplayed the
they're
Phillies.
Mets fans. They suck. Tell it the way it is. He can post all he wants. We don't care.
Yeah.
I complimented the Mets, said the better team wins. Yeah. That's all he gets out of me. All right. Chet, tell us what's going on over at the Irish Rover Station House.
Oh, wow. The Irish Rover Station House. One of my favorite places, Bill. You know that. Look how nice this place looks, first of all. Inside there, there's the outside. The Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, Pennsylvania has happy hour specials, always 24 beers on tap. Thursday through Sunday, they have dinner specials, some great specials this week. And, that bacon-wrapped shrimp sounds good as an appetizer. Yum, yum. Something new, a cool Thursday special, Stella and Wings. Stella! Yeah, a giant glass of Stella for $5 and a $9 plate of wings. Oh, live music is back at the Irish Rover on Saturday nights. And take note, the Irish Rover's Halloween party is slated for November 2nd. And I can tell you right now, there will not be a Phillies game that night this year, November 2nd. Get your costume and get to the Rover. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne, PA. Check the website. It is irishroverstationhouse.com. And having said all that, Bill, I give you this.
It's me, Jackie Bam Bam from 93.3 WMMR, Philly Pressbox Radio. Chet, Bill, what are you doing? It's me, Jackie Bam Bam. Hey, Chet, Bill, I love you. All the best. Bye.
Well, Bill, I got to tell you, speaking of Mr. Bam Bam, this past Saturday, I had the pleasure of hanging with him for a bit over in the Langhorne area, not too far from the Irish Rover, as a matter of fact. This was at the Parkland Fest Community Day. Jackie in his mummer's gear. Always fun to be around Bam Bam, who at one point took to the stage to introduce the Uptown String Band. And being an award-winning mummer himself, Jackie had some fun with the band as they played one of his and my favorite Rolling Stone songs. Now, I don't know if you caught this, but I did post it on Facebook the other day. Here's a bit of it. There are no words, Bill. You got to love Bam Bam.
No words. That's for sure. Hey, one final comment on baseball. Interesting. And I don't know that this, we'll see. The Mets beat the Phillies. Phillies were division winners. The Padres lead the Dodgers. The Tigers lead the Guardians.
Yeah.
Yankees are tie. Wouldn't it be something, unfortunately for the Phillies, that if all the winners end up being the losers.
Yeah, all the lower seeds doing well.
Right.
There's no consolation in that, but no solace. I don't care.
Right.
Season's over for Phillies fans. It is what it is. It'll be talked about for the next several days and weeks to come, including on our show next week.
Absolutely. Hey, Chet, football season, heck, it's Eagles. The Eagles had the week off to get healthy after a bad 33-16 loss to Tampa Bay. As we said early, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, all due back this week when the Browns come to town. You ready to go?
I'm always ready. I hope they are. And, Bill, let me say this. When you're trying to get back on track after a clunker like we got down in Tampa, you couldn't ask for a better scenario than we got here. A bye week that allowed those three key guys to get healthy, presumably, and a perfect opponent as a god-awful team like the Cleveland Browns comes to your home stadium. We're going to make our official picks later in the show, but this has to be a double-digit win for the Eagles, no?
Yeah, I think so. This offense, the excuses are gone. Everybody's back. A.J. Brown, he's only played one game. So if there's an excuse to be made, one of the top receivers in the league's only played one game. And they're 2-2. They're okay. They need to obviously keep getting better. They'll be healthy. And they have 4 good opponents coming up on games that they should win.
Yeah, they should, but certainly no guarantees, as we know. But like I said, a good scenario starting with the Browns, who just may be maybe the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, and Sidney Brown also is starting to work out again. I don't know that he'll be ready to go this week, but he'll be an addition to that defensive backfield that they can certainly use as well. They need him, and they need to get this thing rolling.
They really do. They got to get on the same page again. You're hearing some things that there may be some stuff going on behind the scenes. Some guys not liking the coach or whatever. You got to get on the same page, pull it together for the good of the team. And we know the talent is there, especially assuming Brown, Smith, and Johnson are all back healthy. We know Jalen Hurts has some ability. He's got to cut down on the turnovers, certainly. But the talent is there, and they can turn this thing around. The division, despite Washington maybe playing a little bit above their heads, despite Dallas looking like they're getting the offense back, I think the Eagles can still win this division for sure.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. They got to play better, but there's still not an offense any more talented than the Eagles have all around when everybody's there.
Yeah, so we're going to make our pick later on, but I'm thinking this has to be at least a 10-point win for the Eagles.
I'm with you.
All right.
As we said, Chet, the Flyers open up the season Friday night in Vancouver with 4 straight road games in the Great Northwest, all 10 p.m. Eastern time starts for you that want to watch it on TV. But the big story, a couple teenagers made the opening roster, 19-year-old Matvei Mishkov and 18-year-old Jet Luchenko. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Now, look, there are no guarantees that Luchenko will be here all season. There's no guarantee that Mishkov is going to be an immediate star, but having those 2 young guys in the lineup will, I think, energize the club. It'll bring some excitement to the start of the season. And the Flyers, let's face it, haven't gotten a whole lot of fans excited the last couple of years. So that's a good thing. And having these 2 guys at the start of the year, I think, will give some on-the-fence fans to stay up late and maybe watch some of these early season games out west. Even me, Bill. And it's October. I'm going to watch some hockey.
In January. I was going to ask you if you were thinking about maybe tuning in before January.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm not going out anywhere Friday night other than picking up my daughter at the airport Friday night. So when I get back, I'm going to turn on the Flyers from Vancouver and hopefully, see these guys and see an opening game win.
There you go. Well, hey, you and I had a chance to visit with the hockey guru, Sam Carchidi, to talk about these Flyers and a special Bullies project that Sam's working on. I think people will find interesting.
Let's do it.
Hey, let's get to it and welcome back Flyers guru Sam Carchidi to Philly Pressbox Radio. Sam, welcome.
Hi, Bill. How you doing? Hi, Chet. Good to be with you guys.
Hey, Sam. All right, let's talk Flyers. There wasn't a whole lot of excitement about the Flyers at the early part of the offseason, but then in late June, word leaked out about Matvei Mishkov leaving his KHL club in Russia sooner than expected. and would join the team that drafted him a couple of years ago, the Flyers. What does this 19-year-old winger bring to the Flyers, and what impact might he have as a rookie?
Yeah, I think he's going to have a big impact on his team. He will obviously help the power play, which was very anemic last year. They were 12.2%, by far the lowest percentage in the NHL. And he brings some speed, he brings creativity, he brings a high hockey IQ. And as you mentioned, he's only 19. He'll be 20 early in the year. But, he'll be a shot of adrenaline to this team, much needed. They need somebody like that. And they also will start the year with Jet Lachenko, who is only 18. He just turned 18 August 21st. Yeah. So he'll be the youngest player when he makes his official debut Friday in Vancouver. He'll be the youngest player in the Flyers history, which of course started in 1967. He'll center the third line, it looks like. And, Lachenko will be it looks like he'll be with Farabee and Bobby Brink, and all three of those guys are young. So you got to like the direction of this Flyers team right now. They're going young. Michkov will probably be on the top line with Couturier and Travis Konechny. Tippett, Frost, and Forster, three young guys. There you see it there on the second line. We talked about the third line, and the fourth line is a gritty line, veteran line, and guys that give you 10 solid minutes a game. And as you see there, Delorier and Cates will probably be the extra forwards anyway. So I think there's some excitement this year. It's a rebuild, but you're rebuilding the right way with a lot of young players. Sometimes you rebuild and you have maybe one young player or two young players, and it takes a while to accumulate the draft picks and get the young guys in your lineup. So I like that they're starting out the season with the two teenagers. And Lachenko will have a 9-game tryout. And if he doesn't do well, no harm, no foul. They'll send him back to juniors. And, I think the experience will help him in the long run. But, he says he's here to make not only make the team, but to stay with the team. So some good stuff. And they have some young defensemen. Drysdale, to me, is the key to their defense. He's a young defenseman. And they really need a bounce back year from him. He was bothered by injuries last year and really was not healthy the entire year. So the key to me is Drysdale on defense, and the key on offense to me is Sean Couturier has had back problems, back surgeries. He's a big key. If he can return to be the old Sean Couturier, then the Flyers have something. I'm not including Michkov or Lachenko in that. Because their young guys are going to work their way up. But Couturier is a real big key as well on offense.
Well, Sam, since the Carter Hart era is over, obviously, Samuel Ersson and Ivan Fedotov look like they're going to be the opening goaltenders for this club. How do you feel about that? Is Ersson ready to be the number one guy and play 50, 60 games?
We'll see. I don't think he'll play 60. I think 50 is a possibility. I think, we saw last year he was kind of exhausted down the stretch. He was much better in the first half of the year and was much better when Carter Hart was there and knew that he was the backup. And there was a lot more pressure on him after Carter Hart left. Let's face it, losing Carter Hart, losing Cutter Gauthier, who would have been, I think he's the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year this year. And they ended up trading him, of course, for Drysdale because he didn't want to sign with the Flyers. But losing players of that magnitude has set the Flyers back no matter what they say. So you're right. Ersson, Ivan Fedotov, we really don't know what you have there. As I mentioned, Ersson tailed off in the second half of the year. We didn't really see enough of Fedotov, but he's got all kinds of potential. Won a medal in the Olympics with Russia. Big guy, about 6'7". So, I mentioned the young guys on offense and defense, but, these guys are young in goal, and they're going to be a big key. No question about it. One stat that really jumped at me last year, the save percentage of the Flyers goalies was .889. That was next to last in the NHL. And that was with having Carter Hart here for a decent portion of the year. So that has to improve dramatically. And if it doesn't, it's going to be another playoff-less year. But these two guys have potential, and they're young enough to develop into everyday NHL players, and time will tell.
Well, Sam, you alluded to the Flyers' offense last year. The power play, not good at all. Just offense overall, they were 27th in the league in goals. Nobody in the top 50 in the league in points. Travis Konechny had 68. He ranked 58th in the league overall. As I put up a graphic of the Flyers' opening day roster, will they have any more firepower this year, do you think?
Yeah, I think Owen Tippett, who's been very good his 2 years with Philly, I think he'll take a step forward. To me, he's going to be a 30-goal scorer. I think Tyson Forster can develop into a 25-goal scorer. He scored 20 as a rookie. And a guy I really think they need a lot more out of, is Joel Farabee, a former first-round pick. He's had flashes where he looks very good, looks like he's going to take that next step. But we haven't seen him reach his potential yet. And it's about time for Joel Farabee to do that. Bobby Brink and Noah Cates. I don't know if you're ever going to get 25 goal seasons from guys like that. They have a lot of guys like that are steady players, and they can contribute in other ways. But Farabee, to me, is a guy that can emerge as a 25 to 30 goal scorer. And, it's show me time, I think, for Joel Farabee. They need him to take a step forward. And if he does, they'll have a shot at making the playoffs. If he doesn't, you could be looking at their 5th straight year without a playoff berth, and that hasn't happened since the 1990s. So, but at least this team, even if they don't make the playoffs, they're playing with a lot of youngsters. Guys are developing, and I think the future doesn't look ultra bright, but I think it looks bright. It would look a lot brighter, I think, if you had Carter Hart here and if you had Cutter Gauthier.
Sam, I was so excited when the Flyers got Morgan Frost, scoring machine, in the juniors and all that. And he came up here and he just hasn't hit the stride. Is that going to happen at some point, or is he going to end up being, let's call it, an average hockey player?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up, because he's another guy who I don't know if he's going to be a 30-goal scorer ever, but I think he certainly could be a 20 to 25-goal scorer. I think I'm not going to pull any punches. Flyers are weak down the middle. They need Couturier to have a bounce-back season. They need Frost to emerge. Lachenko, of course, is a question mark, and you're not going to get much out of Ryan Poling. You might get 10, 11 goals, but you're not going to get 20, 25 goals. So it's a big year for Morgan Frost, much like Joel Farabee, probably a prove-it year. But to me, I think that you had that graphic up there. I think Coots and Frost are kind of misplaced, in that Couturier really isn't a number 1 center. It's better at his number 2 spot. Frost is probably better as a number 3 center. So there are guys with potential, Frost, Lachenko, and some of the wingers. But it's time for some of these guys to step up. And I'm not talking about Lachenko and Michkov. I'm talking about guys that have been young veterans, like a Frost, like a Farabee, guys that have been in the system 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, it's time. And if they don't do it, I don't think they'll be here next year. So it's a big year in that regard for Frost and Farabee. And I'm like you, I was so excited when they got Frost, and his numbers, 100 points a year plus, just a tremendous playmaker, especially. I think he has real good chemistry. We've seen it in the past with Tippett. They're real good friends off the ice, and you can kind of see it. They really have a good chemistry on the ice. And, I like that line, the Tippett, Frost, and Forster line. You have some toughness on that line, and you have some skill on that line as well. And Tippett and Forster both have terrific shots. The Flyers as a team were awful last year. Their shooting percentage was one of the worst in the NHL. It was 8.5%. They scored on 8.5% of their shots. That was next to last in the NHL. And some of that is misleading, but some of it is because, they didn't capitalize. They didn't have the finishers last year, especially during that 8-game skid at the end that knocked them out of the playoffs. They could not finish when they had the scoring chances. So, and Frost and Farabee are in that group that have to learn how to finish. And as I said, this is a prove-it year for those guys and many others.
But we haven't talked too much about the defense yet. What is your take on this group? How good or not so good are they?
I think it's pretty good. If healthy. Now Nick Sealer's been banged up with a knee injury. He blocked a shot in a exhibition game against Boston the other day. So he's questionable. I mean, he could play in the opener Friday against Vancouver. If he doesn't, Eric Johnson, the veteran, will be in there. But I really like when Sealer's in there because he's a shot blocker, plays with physicality. Back in the day, the Flyers had guys that weren't flashy. I'm talking about guys like Ed Van Imp and Barry Ashby, and you guys may remember them. I mean, they weren't flashy, but they were defensive defensemen, and they did the job. They cleared the crease. And Sealer is that type. He's an unhurled guy, throws his body in front of shots. And him and Drysdale, they played together a bit last year. And, I like that pairing together. And York and Sanheim. York is another young player. This is a prove-it year for him, too. And can he do it on the power play? He'll get a chance on the power play. Drysdale will probably get a chance on the power play. And Zamula is a steady guy, not flashy. And he actually, looked pretty good last year on the power play, one of the few guys who did some good work at the point. But I'm anxious to see how York develops this year and how Drysdale develops. And they need them. Defensemen develop a little bit later, and they need those two guys to continue to blossom. The defense probably is a little bit better than average. And they get a veteran in there with Eric Johnson who could play in the opener, as I said, if Sealer cannot play.
Who do you see out of those that group being the running the power play on day one come Friday?
Yeah, it could be York and it could be Drysdale. Drysdale has gained about 15 to 20 pounds, and he was hurt basically since day one last year when he was with Anaheim, and tried to play through injuries. It just was not effective, and was not real good on the power play last year. But I think being healthy, he says he feels 100% better than last year. Putting on extra weight, I'd like him to get a shot. But in the beginning, they'll probably just rotate. I think he will get a shot. I think York will get a shot. They need better movement on the power play. There's no question. Better zone entries. Their zone entries were awful last year on the power play. And but I think Michkov is really going to help them, with zone entries and with creativity. He's terrific down by the goal line. And the Flyers don't really have many plays on the power play that are successful, working from behind the net or by the goal line. And I think Michkov gives them that element. That's something that's been missing. And, hopefully just having him here will boost that 12% to maybe 17%. And then if some of these guys start hitting the net, they realize, as I told you, they were 31st in the league last year shooting percentage, and a lot of that was on the power play. So they have to get their shots on goal. It's simple as that.
Sam, last thing from me. When we talked to you back in February, you told us you were developing and writing a TV series about the 1970s Flyers called Bullies. Is that still happening, and where do things stand?
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning it. Yeah, we are. I have learned that TV series aren't as quick as writing for a newspaper or writing for a website. There's a lot more red tape and getting financing, and we have just finished our sizzle. A sizzle is basically a trailer. It's a 3-minute trailer. Think of it as like a movie trailer, but it's a 3-minute trailer. And for the entire series, our series is tentatively 2 years, 8 series a year. So 16 episodes. So we have to boil 16 episodes down to 3 minutes. Not easy, but we had someone who's worked in Hollywood and won Oscars and Emmys and on his sizzles. And he's done ours, and it's terrific. It's really phenomenal. So we're in the process now of showing it to different networks, HBO and Netflix and Hulu and on, Comcast, NBC, Universal, Hulu. I could go on, but we have a couple episodes written, and so, and I'm all new to this. I don't pretend to understand the TV business. Luckily, my partner, Jeff Hare, does. He's been in Hollywood, lives in LA. He's been doing this for 30 years. And Susan Blanchard Ryan, whose father, I don't know if you remember Ron Ryan, Chet, you might remember Ron Ryan was the Flyers president. That's his daughter. And she starred in a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies, including Open Water. And she's our point person on this. She knows probably more about hockey than the three of us. And she also knows the other side of it, the movie side, the TV side. So she's the one taking what we've done and taking it to the different networks and TV studios. And it's been a learning process. It's been fascinating, but it's been slower than I expected, but it just takes time. So hopefully we'll get a deal done with one of these networks and we'll be off and running, but it's just going to take a little more time, and we're patient and trying to be patient anyway.
There is a website, bulliestvseries.com, that'll give you a little bit more information about. It's going to be fun. I hope it happens.
We've had some really good feedback so far, and we're confident that it will be on TV somewhere down the road. We hope sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait to see it. Hey, Sam, I have one final Flyers question for you, today's Flyers question. I might be in the minority on John Tortorella. Last year, I kind of felt like when he benched Sean Couturier there, I said to Chet on this show, I said, you better really have your finger on the pulse of your locker room if you're going to healthy scratch your captain. They went into a tailspin right after that, whether it was related or not, it happened. But it seems like this year, as camp's going on, I'm seeing more and more compliments coming from John Tortorella about his players than I've ever seen before. Is that related in any way?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have any inside information, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the higher ups, Briere and Keith Jones and some of the other people, maybe had a conversation or two. And, John beats to his own drum, and he tries to intimidate a lot of people, and whether it's the media or his players, and he rules the way he does. And guys won a Stanley Cup, and he's been a pretty successful coach. So you have to respect him for that. But some of the things, that was kind of strange, and I know that Couturier didn't appreciate that at all, and you kind of wonder, Bill, if some of the other players were taken aback by that, and it just left kind of a bad taste in their mouths. But this is John's third year. Coaches usually last 4 years in the NHL. That's their shelf life with one team. Then they go somewhere else for 4 years. I mean, it's just incredible if you look at it. There aren't many coaches that last more than 4 years because their message just doesn't get across. I guess my prediction is that Torts will probably be here this year and next year, and then somebody else will come in. But you wonder if they're at that point 3 years from now, 3 seasons, if they're at that point to be a legitimate Stanley Cup contender, if he does stay maybe one more year. But let's see what happens this year first. I think last year they ended up with 88 points, 87 points. I think they'll probably end up with around that this year. I think they overachieved a lot last year, and Tortorella deserves a lot of credit for that. But they collapse at the end of the year. That just can't happen. Right now, this is not a Stanley Cup team. There's no question. But in 2 years from now, maybe they will be.
Good stuff, Chet, from Sam's got me excited about getting ready to watch the Flyers. I'm really excited about these kids and some of these other guys. I want to see if Konechny and Tippett and those guys can continue to grow, and I'm still looking for that breakout from Morgan Frost.
I know you've been a fan of Morgan Frost since they first drafted him. I know.
Since they got him. Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to that Bullies series also whenever that gets to air. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, and I want to make the playoffs this time.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Got to make the playoffs this time. All right, Chet, tell us what's going on with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia. Bob Cavanaugh and the gang of Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Well, Bill, Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up a terrific catering business for some 35 years now. Known best for their tailgate parties, Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates Jack Daniel's Great American Tailgate Party Contest and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. There's Cav. He also does corporate events and parties, you name it. Now, you, of course, know that Cav hosts tailgates before all of the Birds games at the Link. There's the partial schedule. Check the website, phillytailgates.com, for pricing and more information about upcoming events. And if you have questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go. Oh, Cav also works with the guys at Philly Sports Trips, who have fantastic trips for every Eagles road game and other events like Phillies spring training trips. Get all the details at phillysportstrips.com.
There you go. Well, hey, Chet, it's time to make our weekly picks, and I can tell you between those picks and our margin of victory picks, we've pretty much been stinking it up.
It has not been good, Bill, not at all. Let me just say this. My record this year is 5-17 in picking the NFC East games and a few others.
There's no money on that, huh?
No, thank God. Here's the standings, by the way. You guys aren't doing much better. You were both 2-3 last weekend. I was 1-4 for the year. You guys are at 500. Man, that looks good to me. I'm 5-17, 6 games back already, 5 weeks into the season. That's hurting people's eyes, especially mine. I'm going to get that off the screen.
Hey, we're just like the Eagles. We're 2-2 with nowhere to go but up.
Yeah. 500.
All right. Well, we'll come back to our margin of victory, but let's get to our picks first. We don't have Boop again with us tonight, Bob Patrone Jr., but we do have his picks. So let's get to it. We did 4 NFC East games. We didn't add any games this week since all 4 teams are playing and they're not playing each other. So we have Washington at Baltimore. It's going to be an interesting game. Ravens -6.5. Bengals at New York on Sunday Night Football. Bengals are -3.5. Detroit at Dallas. The Lions are -3.5. And the Eagles host the Browns. The Eagles -8.5. Let's do it. Washington at Baltimore. Chet, Ravens -6.5.
All right, I do have Boop's picks. I printed them out, didn't look at them. You know the drill. Boop says, Commanders at Ravens. Jaden Daniels has as many rushing TDs, 4, as passing TDs, 4. Oh, and also Commanders wins 4-1. So a lot of 4s there. His pick is Washington. Wow, the upset.
Yeah, who you got?
Oh, I'm taking Baltimore. They looked good, I thought, last weekend. High-scoring game against the Bengals. I think they got things untracked. Washington been playing great so far this year, admittedly, but I'm taking Baltimore at home.
Do you want to read my email that I sent you in case I wasn't going to be on, or you want me to just tell them?
I want you to tell. I do have a photo capture of the picks, but I didn't look at those either. So,
well, it's funny that Boop picked Washington because I picked Washington.
Oh.
How about that for an upset?
Didn't look at it. All right.
And I tell you, they're playing good ball. Baltimore's good. But I'm going to ride Washington while they're hot.
Nice to have the two teams in the DC metro area doing pretty well for a change at the same time. That's nice.
You bet. Bengals at New York to play those football giants. Sunday Night Football. Chad, I'll tell you what. Bengals are 3.5 in this. It's interesting. This game to me is interesting because every time you think the Giants are dead, they seem to do something like they did last week in Seattle.
Yeah, that hurt all of us last week in a lot of different ways. Bengals at the Giants. Boop says maybe this New York team isn't as bad as we thought they were, but Cincinnati is. Whoa. Boop is picking the New York Football Giants. I can't do it. I can't pick the Giants to, pull off another upset this week. I'm taking Cincinnati. I think they're finally going to, they started to get on track last week, just made one mistake late. Cincinnati beats the Giants on the road.
Yeah, I'm going Cincinnati too. I've given up on those Giants. I can't do much with them. Another good game, Detroit at Dallas. The Lions are -3.5. What's going to happen in this one? This is a good one.
How about this? Boop says Dallas is winless at home. Wow, I didn't know that. And undefeated on the road, 3-0. I did not realize that. So let's see. The Cowboys are at home this week. Let's see if that can continue. Boop picks Detroit. I'm picking Detroit too. I would love to see the Cowboys lose to the Lions.
I'm picking Detroit too, and I'm thinking about it more for Dallas. Still can't run the ball, and the only reason they won last week, Prescott threw for about 5 miles, but they still can't run the ball, and they still can't play defense.
Yeah, and they survived 3 turnovers by him also. So let's hope the Lions can knock off Dallas in Big D.
There you go. Eagles host the Browns. Eagles -8.5. 1 o'clock Sunday start for the Birds. Not many of them.
Not many at all. Boop says the Birds needed a post-by slam dunk in the worst way, and they got it. The pick, Eagles. I'm taking the Eagles, too. In fact, I'm going to give you a score, Bill. Mark this down. Eagles, 34. Browns, 16.
Yeah, there you go. I like the Eagles, and I like them. I don't know if I didn't think of a score, but I like them by that. I think the Eagles will win big. So that gets us to our margin of victory. Did we just give out a couple hints?
Yeah, I think we did. Now look at this. Here's the standings, and I'm going to tell you, well, here's the deal regarding the margin of victory pool. It's like a survivor pool, except you don't get eliminated if your one surefire pick loses, and you get points if that one surefire pick wins, the points equating to the margin of victory. We're all stinking it up there, too. We were all 0-3 or 0-1 last week. We lost the game, got no points. I really screwed up, though, Bill. I picked Seattle, and I had already taken Seattle in week 1. That's a no-no. So rather than just take the loss, I'm also wiping San Francisco off from future picks for me because the Niners were the other team I considered, and they, too, lost, of course, in an upset. So, my bad. And there's the standings. We are all stinking it up there, right around 500. I'm somehow in first place with 29 points. Last year, 5 weeks in, I think I had over 100 points already. I'm not kidding.
Well, I think the other thing on this is Boop Stats wanted to give you a little bit of a break.
Yeah,
I give you a forfeit and minus 30 points. I think that would only be fair.
And then Boop said he buys us beer. I'll do that. I'll buy you both a few beers. Oh, speaking of Boop, by the way, Boop is celebrating tonight his birthday eve. Boop has a birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, Boop.
Happy birthday, Boop.
There you go.
Good deal.
All right, the picks.
Yes, do it.
Let's see. Boop says Eagles over the Browns.
I got Eagles.
He's got the Eagles. I am taking, and I wrote it down, Houston over New England.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got Eagles, too.
Okay. 2 Eagles, 1 Houston. There you go.
Eagles better win. You picked, what'd you pick? 34-16.
I did.
You picked an 18-point win, and you think Houston's going to win by more than 18?
No, I don't. I'm just saving my Eagles.
Confused again.
Just saving my Eagles pick for later on. Hopefully, there'll be another, no doubt about it, one for the Eagles on the schedule. I just felt like picking somebody other than the Eagles, and I took Houston.
There you go. All right. Good stuff. Hopefully, we do better this week. Hey, Chet, we had a great guest tonight in Sam Carchidi. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
I intentionally did not coordinate a guest for next week as yet because I wanted to see how the Phillies Mets series played out. Now we know. So I will, in the next couple of days, reach out to someone connected with the Phillies or who covers the Phillies or whatever, because we got to do a bit of an autopsy, I guess, on the Phillies season next week. So we're going to talk Phillies with somebody next week.
There you go. Joe Howe says the Patriots going with a rookie quarterback. Drake May, I guess, is going to get the call. And I believe New Orleans is also going with a rookie quarterback, Spencer Rattler.
Because their guy got hurt last week
as well. So,
the
rookies are everywhere.
Everybody's saying happy birthday to Boop, so that is nice. Hey, Bill, before we move along to other things, we didn't mention the 76ers as yet. They began their preseason slate with a blowout win, 55-point win over some team known as the New Zealand Breakers, whoever they are. That was at the Center Monday night. No Joel Embiid, no Paul George, no problem. Tyrese Maxey did play the first quarter only, and he scored 15 points. He looked in midseason form already. 3 other Sixers scored 15 as well, including newcomers Yabusele and Reggie Jackson, and the rookie Jared McCain, who hit for 4 3-pointers, but he did struggle closer to the hoop. The Sixers do have 5 more preseason games before the regular season opener, October 23rd, against those Milwaukee Bucks. And we will have our Sixers season preview show 2 weeks from tonight, the same night the Sixers open the regular season.
So
Yeah.
I just have one comment.
Okay.
And you know what it is.
I'm going to guess it's about Joel Embiid.
Well, there's already questions whether he's going to play in the opener. What in the world? What in the world with this guy?
I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. I can't defend the guy for that. There's no excuse. Come on.
I got nothing. Hey, on a whole nother note, let's talk about a little college football right quick for just a minute. Penn State, ranked number 4 in the country after taking care of UCLA. They traveled to Los Angeles this week to play the Trojans at the Coliseum. What do you think about Penn State at number 4?
Interesting. I mean, the Nittany Lions coming off that kind of ho-hum victory over a subpar UCLA team last weekend in Happy Valley. They are traveling out to LA for a rare matchup with those another one of the new Big Ten teams, the USC Trojans. I believe it's a 3:30 Eastern time start Saturday. The Lions and Trojans have only played 10 times in history. USC, having won the last 3 meetings, leads the series now 6-4 for whatever that's worth. I think the last time they played was in the Rose Bowl 6 or 7 years ago. Saquon Barkley was still with the Knits. The unbeaten Lions are favored this weekend, but only by 4.5. Should be an interesting game. I know you'll be watching. You don't see these two teams play much, and boy, I don't know. I think it will be a one-score game.
Yeah. Well, and you know what else is really cool is Ohio State and Oregon. Ohio State and Oregon are ranked ahead of Penn State in that 2 and 3 spot. They play each other this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Texas plays Oklahoma in a Red River rivalry game. Texas ranked number 1. So interesting that Texas is 1. The 3 Big Ten teams are 2, 3, and 4, and then Georgia, Alabama, and then follow behind. So everybody's going to end up with losses when it's all said and done to get ready for this 12-team tournament at the end of the season.
I mean, be honest, Bill. You've watched them more closely than I have. Is Penn State a top 4 team?
They're a top 4 defense.
Okay.
They're a top 4 defense. Now, they played this week without Nick Singleton, who's their number 1 back, and still were fine. They have several good backs. Winning on the road at SC will certainly be a challenge. Let's see how they fare then before we decide whether they're a top 4 team. But they are top 4 defense. They're pretty good.
Okay. Anything else on the college football front we should mention?
No, other than every Saturday when you sit down to watch something, you're going to see something special because Vanderbilt beat Alabama. That won't happen again in the rest of our lifetime. Tennessee went down to Arkansas. They got beat. So anybody can beat anybody. There's so much talent running around on these college teams. It's fun to watch every Saturday. And both and Army and Navy are both undefeated, by the way.
Oh my gosh, yeah, both 5-0. How about that?
Yep.
What a weekend it was for college football, and then a lot of the Sunday NFL games were right down to the wire and fun to watch as well. So, man, for us football fans, it was great watching all of that on our TVs. Bill, we should mention what's going on with Edge of Philly Sports while we have a few minutes left in the show. As you may have seen on Facebook, Edge of Philly Sports is kind of going by the wayside as far as a network of hosting all these different shows. There will still be a website and they will still put out content, but I guess as of this week, we will no longer be part of the Edge of Philly Sports Network. So some people may be wondering, what does that mean for us? And we're not entirely sure as far as what everything the future holds for us, but we'll still be here. We'll be doing shows. We'll be still having great guests. You and I will be doing the shows together, but there may be some other tie-ups. There may be us joining another network. There may be teaming up with, another show or two to, just kind of push each other up and promote each other. We're working out a couple of potential things. So hopefully next week we will have something to announce on that front.
Yeah. And just for those, that have followed us all along, I don't know what the number is, but we probably did the first 400 shows on our own.
Yeah, we did.
In the last year or two or whatever it's been, as part of the Edge of Philly Sports Network. And it was fun. Those guys were great. And they worked really hard. It just, life gets in the way of things. And they had to make some personal decisions. That's just the way it is. And for us, Chet, if it's me and you just running solo again, we'll do it for another 400 or whatever it takes. And if we hook up with somebody else, that's good too.
Well, as an example of time flying, we've actually been with the Edge of Philly Sports Network for more than 4 years now, Bill, because it was pre-pandemic. Because I remember, I don't know if you were, I think you were there. We went to a party at Al Zafiri's place during the summer of 2020, pandemic time. And, there was still a lot of concern about that whole situation. But yeah, so we've been with them since the spring of 2020. And
time is flying by.
Yeah, we do want to thank Big Al and Joey Sheeran and Freddie Burns, who, joined them, because all a bunch of great guys. And they're all still going to be, doing things from time to time on sports and guesting on other shows and, whatever this great podcast world brings. But yeah, we're not going to be part of the Edge of Philly Sports Network, I guess, after tonight. So we'll be here, though. We'll be here next week, in fact. And hey, one other thing we have, let's see, a couple of minutes left. I just want to promote something this Sunday. It is the celebrity guest bartending event to benefit the Darren Dalton Foundation, and it is at Tavola Restaurant and Bar in Springfield, Delaware County. It is this Sunday, starting at 4:30 for VIPs, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the little folk like me. Tickets are $100, which sounds a lot, but this is to benefit the Darren Dalton Foundation. And you can get all the information at that website, darrendaltonfoundation.org, I believe it is. And I will definitely be there. So hopefully you'll join me. And what a guest list they have, Bill. These are some of the guys who will be there on Sunday. Tommy Green, Mickey Morandini, our buddy Steve Jeltz, Danny Jackson, Jim Eisenreich, Ruben Amaro Jr., Greg Murphy, Ricky Botalico, Larry Boa, and the Crucker, John Kruk, all expected to be there on Sunday for the Darren Dalton Foundation. All right?
Yep. And it'll be after the Eagles game. It starts at 4:30, so you can watch the Eagles game or go there and watch the Eagles game. And it'll be interesting to have some conversation with some of these former Phillies about what just happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were hoping that it would be as a lead up, I guess, to a Sunday night, maybe game 2 of the NLCS or whatever, but no, not to be.
Yep. All right. You ready? We'll wrap it up.
Wrap it up, Bill.
All right. Let's thank tonight's special guest.
Stay safe.
Carchidi. Oh, yeah.
That too.
Yeah. I will say this. As we've been talking for the last hour, I've been getting a lot of lightning alerts on my phone. And I'm hearing a lot of activity upstairs where my wife is. Doors are opening, and I don't know what exactly is going on. But, hopefully we have power. And obviously we hope we're safe. But we hope we have power and that we can be back here next week. So, all right.
Best, Bill. Yeah, now you can wrap it up.
All right. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Sam Carchidi, our sponsors. The Irish Rover Station House, Cavs, Philly Tailgate, PPCC, 118 Raz Room. For Jim, Chet, Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday, October 16th at 7 p.m. You see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Go Birds. Let's go.
Let's do the song. Come on.